Okay, we're in Proverbs chapter 6, and we're going to be going through verses 6 to 11. Man, if y'all knew what I had to deal with on a daily basis, I get some of the most incredible, insane messages and stuff that people are deal with. One person today posted on my thing gossip about a famous minister. And, the Bible makes it really clear not to receive an accusation against an elder without the witnesses of two or three. And this person that's posting this stuff is a known liar. And not only that, but she was passing on to other believers and Christians who in turn were posting it on their things. Let me tell you, you do something like that, and I don't care who you are. It ends with me. I don't listen to gossip, and I don't pass it on. If it comes on my timeline, I'm not even going to tell you, I'm just going to unfriend you and block you, okay? There's no point in continuing that. I told this one woman I was going to do that, and she cussed me out. It was a believer, okay? She said, I said, now I understand why you posted it. So we have people like that on there, that they would do anything to discredit believers, even if the accusation was true, which I don't believe it is by any sort of imagination. Even if it was true, the Bible tells us that love covers a multitude of sin. You don't go air your dirty laundry out in public. The Bible says to confess your sins one to another, to those people that are involved. You go to them, you make it right. You don't need to air out all your garbage for everybody to see. It's been covered by the blood. There's nothing entertaining about it. All that people do, they want to gossip. They want something to chew on. Okay? It comes on my timeline, it's gone. Okay, so let me just put that out there right now since this happened. Okay. Well, you know what we got today in America is we got a lot of wannabe socialists. And they have this idea of this kind of utopia where everybody is on an equal plane. Okay? In other words, there's an equal distribution of wealth, whether you work for it or not. Okay? And they somehow think that that's going to work. It has never worked anywhere. And the last place that it was tried to get accomplished was in Venezuela. And go look at them now. That used to be a thriving economy. Beautiful people and lots of things going on. Now those people are killing their own pets to get something to eat. They're eating dog food. Okay? You want to live under that kind of situation? Okay. Those people that brought that in were really stupid. They're not very wise, according to the book of Proverbs. Okay? You got people like the Squad in America, AOC, and Bernie Sanders, and all these people that, and they have all the money in the world and living in nice houses and all that, and they're talking about equality. They don't know what that is, okay? I don't listen to anything. They're fools. Some of them are scoffers. Okay, the book of Proverbs makes that really clear. Okay, now, in the book of Proverbs, you have another mindset of a person. And we have a lot of them today, and it's kind of this woke group that believe that, we need to, they have this false sense of reality that they're trying to get everybody to believe. None of it is versed in truth, okay? Trying to say that men can have babies. Men cannot have babies. Okay, how stupid. Hey, you know what's happening? In some of your hospitals where they train doctors, they're teaching that too. The professors are so scared that the students that are made up by a lot of woke people, if he doesn't say that they say they're going to be offended by their woke mentality, that anything that they say verbally by a woke mentality equals to physical abuse. So these teachers are afraid to tell the truth. Listen, if you need surgery or you need to have something done, make sure the person that does the procedure doesn't go to one of those schools. Okay, and it's going to be probably just about every medical place, a school institution in America. You know, you want to study a little history, look at what happened to the medical profession in Germany when Hitler came to power. You know, I mean, they got so bad that the Jews weren't even considered humans. And they started experimenting on people. You know, in fact, the Nuremberg Code was passed so that people would not be forced to undergo experimentation. So people trying to make people get a vaccine and do things that, you know, it's still in experimental stages. I would not take it. You know, and there's other ethical reasons why I wouldn't do it as well. But this is the mentality that we're living in right now, you know, and I hate to have to deal with it, but it's nothing new. This has been going on since the creation. Man has had a sin nature, and because they have a sin nature, all kind of evil is present. Okay, so remember, we got to deal with our generation. This is what we're facing right now. Okay. Solomon had been talking to his son about folly. And the last time we talked about him warning his son not to co-sign for anybody. That's a big no-no. And if he did, he already done it. You better go get yourself out of it this day. Don't even get any sleep. Okay? Now, he's going to switch gears a little bit. He's going to address a person called a sluggard. The only place that word is mentioned in the Bible is in the book of Proverbs. I think it's mentioned like 18 times. Okay? What is a sluggard? A sluggard is a lazy person. This is a person that loves sleep more than work. Okay? And so the father is coming in. You can kind of picture teenagers sitting on the couch, laying around, you know, drinking sodas and eating chips, playing Nintendo, whatever they call them now, you know. But the father goes to the son. And he's telling him, he's not saying that his son is lazy, but he's telling him, listen, this is what I want you to do. Okay? He says, I want you to go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. Have you ever done that? When I was in grade school, I used to watch during recess. In Texas, they got these big ants, red ants, and they also got fire ants, which you don't want to get bit by. That's the thing the daylight's out of you. But I used to watch them and watch what they do. And I noticed how some of them could carry leaves and sticks that were bigger than them, you know. And I would just watch. I'd be amazed at what they would do and how they'd get in line and how they'd march and go down in the hole and come back and everything. And so I would watch. What happens when you watch? You get wisdom. Okay, so the father's telling his son, go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. See, he was a current freeloader. You know, a freeloader is somebody that, you know, somebody's always taking care of. Look, I know that there are some people that are struggling, okay? Now, I don't want to do that. I can go here in San Antonio and go where you have 7, 8 generation now of welfare dependents, okay? They don't know any other life. A lot of them never had a father at home showing them how to work. It didn't used to be like that. The socialists went over there, decided they were going to start giving everything to everybody and ruin the whole community. And they started handing out welfare. You know, that happened under the Johnson administration. And ruined whole communities. And people, they quit learning how to work. They didn't learn skills. And subsequently, they became welfare. So I know that some were born into that, you know. But I just heard a testimony of a woman that was born into it, a black woman, and how she rose out of that and really made something with her life and for her family. I tell people that isn't injustice. That's a greater opportunity for you than some kid in a middle class or upper middle class home that didn't have that kind of obstacle. You know? So, you know, God is sovereign. He puts you in that situation, whatever it may be. But no matter what the case, he does not want you to be lazy. So he tells the son, he says, go to the ant You sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores provision in summer and gathers its food at harvest. He's working. He's staying busy. You know, there's two things that God has given us that are really good gifts. One is work. If you work hard, you sleep good. Plus you earn money. You know, in the New Testament says, if you don't work, you don't eat. And the second thing that he's given as a gift is food. Man, there's nothing like, when I was a boy, I did all kind of work. You know, I used to caddy. That was my first job. I think I made a dime for a loop and maybe a Coke and a Slim Jim. Then I would cut grass for a quarter. And we didn't have these push gas mowers. We had these rotor motors that turned the blade. I would push back and forth. And we didn't trim grass with weed eaters. We had little things to do with that. And I would be happy to do it. Plus I was getting strong, you know. And, but man, I would work hard out in the sun and I'd come back home. My mom had a big old plate of spaghetti. And man, oh God, you know, and I'd eat and drink water and I felt, man, I'm on cloud nine. Okay. You know, and that's what God given us his gift is that's hard work and food, especially Italian and Mexican food. So, you know, a big plate of enchiladas or ravioli, you know, then you're really living, okay? Rice and beans, you know, tortillas, some chili, okay? After a hard days of work, man, you know, what more could you want, really? Okay, so he's telling them, and you need to go and check out these ants. And then he tells them this. He's going to get kind of sarcastic with them. He says, listen, how long will you lie there, you sluggard? How long are you going to do this? He says, when are you going to get up from your sleep? And then he says this. Look, notice the progression of what he's going to say. Oh, a little sleep. A little slumber. A little folding of the hands to rest. Come on, Mom, Dad. Look, I'll sleep in for a few more minutes. And then I'll get up and do it. Just a few more minutes. A little sleep. A little slumber. A little fold. There are people that lay around all day. And I couldn't do that. You know, I've had some of my sons that bring their friends over and during the day, and they want to watch TV in my house. I said, no, we don't watch TV in the day. What do you mean? I said, no, you can watch in the evening. During the day, we work. They don't stay long. I put in the work cutting grass and do different things, you know. And the ones that are very industrious, though, they hang around. Okay, the other ones that don't, well, they're gone. Okay. And so that's what I do. Okay. And so he's being kind of sarcastic. Hey, how long are you going to lay around? You're going to lay around there and play Nintendo or play games, sit around, you know, on your cell phone. And man, get up and do some work. And then he tells them why. He says this. He says, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. And let me tell you something. And poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. I mean, that's pretty graphic. What does a bandit and an armed man want from you? They want to steal from you. They're not going to come and warn you. But you see these people suddenly in need. I don't help them. They had all that time. They wasted it. What they wasted doing frivolous things. Yet in Ephesians it says, making the most of the time, for the days are evil. You know, if you're not focused and doing what God called you to do, and you're easily distracted by a little something here, a little something there, and a little something somewhere else, man, you're never going to make a difference. And before you know it, you're going to be 40, 50, 60, 70, you know, 80, and you're going to be in need and nobody there to help you. You know why a lot of people are homeless? I know. I did a study on it when I was in seminary. Most of those people have burned their bridges with their families, with their friends, and they're constantly in need. They won't work. Now some are legitimately, homeless and good, but a majority of them are not. And you're always going to have people like that. So what's the wisdom here? The wisdom here is you need to work every day, doing something, and it needs to be focused. Okay? That's a gift that God has given you. Now, I agree that work without purpose is drudgery. Okay? Nobody wants to be on a dead-end street type of a job. Find out what it is God has for you, just for you. And he wants you to know it more than you do. He's created a plan and a purpose for you. But I guarantee you're never going to find it laying around on your couch. Okay? You just get in the driver's seat, no matter what it is you have to do, and let God take you. Let me finish with a story about my uncle. True story. He was married to my aunt. He had 2 little kids. He had a job as a school teacher. And they were laying people off. They didn't have money to pay, so he got laid off from his job. He was renting a house. He didn't have money for rent. And so he didn't know what to do. And he was going and applying for a lot of jobs, and nobody was hiring. And, they got so desperate that I remember my aunt telling him, you need to go down and get something. We can't starve. We got 2 little babies here. We can see. So he humbled himself, and he went to the welfare office. He was a guy that had a bachelor's degree, and he did something that he didn't want to do. His pride wouldn't let him do it. And, he had worked as a janitor. He wasn't willing to do anything, but he didn't want to go to welfare. He humbled himself and he went there. And when they were interviewing him for the possibility of giving him some food stamps, he could feed his family, and they noticed on his application that he had a undergraduate degree in social work. And they hired him as a social worker. He didn't get food stamps. He ended up going to work. He stayed on that job until he retired. And he worked that job and he pastored a church both at the same time. He never took a salary from the church, ever. And God blessed him tremendous evangelist. But he was one of the hardest workers that I've ever known. Totally committed to the gospel and preaching Christ to the lost. And in a very poor section of west side of San Antonio. Okay, tomorrow we're going to talk about a scoundrel. We got some scoundrels in our country, and we got some scoundrels even back here in the Old Testament times. But the Father's going to warn him. So he's warned him about folly with becoming a co-signer. He's warning them about being lazy. And he's going to warn them. He's going to tell them how to look for certain things that scoundrels do, so you don't get tied up with them tomorrow. Okay, pray for me. Pray for this ministry that I'm doing. It's hard. It's tough. Pray that God gives me wisdom. And, God bless you all. These are tough times we live in.